is serious about our nation's security and our continued freedom, and not focused on some of these woke mandates. While attention will be given in the future to provide back pay and look at benefits for those that were fired by Joe Biden, we've secured a major win for our nation's service members. I do want to thank Senate Republican leadership, including Senator McConnell and Senator Ernst, who serves on Senate Armed Services, and the colleagues that are here with me today. They have done an incredible job of working together to push this across the finish line. So with that, our speaking order, Senator Ernst, we'll go with you first.
Thank you, Senator Blackburn, and thanks everyone for being here today as well. Just as Senator Blackburn has stated, we need a lethal fighting force, and our military prides itself on its ability to fight tonight. Yet, we're facing a major recruiting crisis, which is a national security risk. The Army, which is the branch that I proudly served in and led troops in, is now 20,000 short of its recruiting goals. In our Iowa Army National Guard alone, we've lost 51 service members since Biden ordered this COVID vaccine mandate. If we continue with the vaccine mandate, the Iowa Army National Guard could lose another nearly 400 members come this next summer. So this is a clear readiness issue for our forces. The President and the Pentagon should be very laser focused on ensuring that U.S. military members and the overall institution remains the most lethal fighting force on the face of the planet. So I am very proud today to stand with my Republican colleagues and announce that we've successfully removed this readiness burden from the defense bill. And I would like to thank Senator Blackburn for her incredible efforts in bringing our conference together on this. We are very glad that it has been successful. So thank you so much.
Again, I would like to thank Senator Blackburn for her work on this. You know, in Mississippi, we're very proud of our armed services. We're very proud of those that choose to make this a career and that actively seek this path. And this mandate has certainly been a problem. I've been concerned about the administration's overreach on many things, but at least we're finally able to stop some of this. And as you've heard, in a time when recruitment and retention pose such huge challenges to our armed forces, this was just critical that this be brought to light, and President Biden's damaging vaccine mandate, it needs to be stopped. Rescinding these mandates will save thousands of service members from being wrongly terminated and allow them to focus on what they need to be focused on, and that's national security missions, what they signed up for. And ensuring that our service members are protected and equipped with the tools that they need to defend this country must be our top priority, not targeting those who do not want a COVID vaccine. So I am so grateful for our brave servicemen and women and everybody on this platform. We promise to you that we're going to stand for their freedoms just like they're standing for our freedoms.
Thanks to Senator Blackburn for leading this effort that we've all supported. Military readiness, as you've heard, is a very fragile thing, particularly in an all-volunteer force. We need to make sure that we don't try to engage in social science experiments using our troops. And in this case, there was no individualized consideration given for what typically are pretty young, healthy service members. Just a broad mandate was issued, and of course, as you've heard, we've lost the ability to recruit to the levels that we need in order to maintain the readiness for the threats that Senator Blackburn pointed out all around the world. This world is getting more dangerous all the time, and we need to encourage more people to take the oath of a member of the United States military and to serve honorably defending our country. And so I'm, again, want to congratulate Senator Blackburn, Senator Ernst, and others who are standing here who support this important effort. And now we need to follow up and get back pay and reinstatement at some point. But this is a great victory, and I want to congratulate Senator Blackburn for her leadership.
Brains?
I too want to thank and congratulate Senator Blackburn for her leadership, for bringing us to this point of actually getting an outcome on fighting against this mandate. I also want to congratulate Senator Marshall for having the best holiday tie that I've seen so far this season. It's well done, sir. This is a huge win for America's heroes. I'm the son of a U.S. Marine. I think about the men and women who wear the uniform, who fight on our behalf to keep us free, to keep us safe. We're fighting on their behalf against this overreaching mandate. I want to tell you a story about a Montana Air Force family. A father who served in the Air Force, his sweet wife, 5 children. He served in Iraq, Afghanistan, and more. He's been battling, asking for a religious exemption regarding the COVID vaccine. And he's had denial after denial after denial. You think about a great hero like that who wants to stay focused on fighting our enemies, instead is fighting against the bureaucracy and this overreaching mandate of the Biden administration. And he's still fighting today, and we're still fighting with us. And we hope to get this signed into law so he can end that fight and stay focused on the true enemy out there, which my colleagues have talked about today. There's been a lot of discussion about what's going on with recruitment. Our focus should be on supporting our troops, making it easier to join the military, not harder. It's been mentioned, Army recruitment down 25%. This is a threat to our national security in terms of readiness when you have more leaving the military than are coming in. So I'm very proud to stand here with my colleagues today to repeal this overreaching mandate. We need to get the NDAA passed, signed into law with this huge win. I think this is one of the greatest Christmas presents we can give to the men and women in the U.S. military.
Marsha?
Thank you. America is ashamed of how this White House is treating our soldiers. Let me explain. 2 of my dad's uncles stormed the beaches at Normandy. My dad served, my brother served this country. I served this country. And now I'm the father of a soldier. And this is not how we treat our soldiers. I'm so proud of this caucus, the people standing beside me who helped to stop the dishonorable discharge. But that's not enough. Now we need to stop this vaccine mandate. We need to give the soldiers back pay and their families the back pay that they deserve as well. My colleagues will point out so many of the facts that are important, but I want to talk about the science for just a second. In the spring of 2020, I went and volunteered at a hospital in southwest Kansas. There were several big meat packing plants there, and the COVID virus was ripping through those packing plants. I walked into the hospital. It was cold, it was dark, and it was empty for the most part, except for the ICU. I went to the ICU. It had 8 beds, but 13 patients. And I quickly figured out that all those patients were probably in their 50s or 60s, most of which had type 2 diabetes. I picked up the phone and I called the CDC. I'm sure you're seeing the same thing, that this virus selects out people with type 2 diabetes and older people. So think about these folks that are in the ICU. They're living in trailer homes where there's 8, 12, 14, 16 people packed into a 2-bedroom trailer home. And though some of the family members had a cold, some flu symptoms, they weren't in the emergency room. They weren't being hospitalized. We knew early on that this virus impacts the elderly, people that have medical conditions, but not our youth that are in good health. And what we didn't know then, but certainly can confirm now, there's significant risk from taking this vaccine. Thousands of soldiers have taken this vaccine and now have medical complications. Some of them will never be able to serve the military of their country again because of the medical conditions that they've had from this vaccine. As a physician, no matter what I was prescribing, whether it was recommending a C-section or chemotherapy, it was my obligation to talk to the families about the risk and the benefits, the pros and the cons of a treatment. And every treatment, every vaccine has complications. And we know that the complication risk, especially for young, healthy men, is extremely high from the vaccine, causing pericarditis and other autoimmune problems. And now we want to still kick them out of the military because they refused the vaccine? And I'm not even addressed natural immunity, that we knew all along natural immunity would be better than this vaccine. America was led down a path of lies and deception from Dr. Fauci, the NIH, the CDC, never willing to recognize the science that we already had a good feeling for in March and April. And still today, they refuse to recognize their mistakes, and we're punishing our military and family for their stupidity and their bullheadedness. I'm ashamed of how this White House is treating our military.
Langford?
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. Months ago, the White House declared the pandemic is over. But for our military, apparently the pandemic is still going on. There's still a requirement if you're going to enter the military. There's still a requirement to be able to maintain in the military, and they're not getting basic answers to questions. There's been a team effort, and a lot of folks have been pushing this. And an area that I've been working on a lot is the religious accommodation issue. That's a standard practice, quite frankly, within the military. Within the military, they have chaplains. They know what religious accommodations are for certain individuals, and they're based on their faith. They need to keep a beard, or for certain individuals, they want to be able to wear a turban. They've worked through all these different processes. They've done the same thing with vaccines in the past, except in this one. In this case, members of the military that asked for religious accommodation just weren't given answers. They were just parked off to the side. They would meet with their chaplains, which is the normal process. It would go up through the chain of command. It would get to commanders, and there would be no answer that would come down. We have thousands of members of the military that have been waiting for a year and a half now just to be able to get an answer to their question, do I get a religious accommodation on this one or not? And it's always been, wait, we're thinking about it. It's literally at any moment they could get that call, they could get that letter, they could get their knock over at their door to be able to say, you're out. And they've been living under that for a year and a half, basically feeling that their country does not want their service anymore. We have pilots that are in various training facilities around the country that they can't train other pilots because they've asked for a religious accommodation, and they've been told, no, I'm sorry, you can't get in an aircraft, and to be able to fly with someone else to be able to train them, you've got to stay on the ground over here. So we're losing access to training pilots, we're losing access to additional individuals, and we've got folks that have served in the military 20, 25 years that have faithfully served their country that just want an answer to their question. This is finally beginning to get an answer to their question. Yes, we are grateful for your service. Yes, we honor your religious accommodation. Yes, that this is going to continue to move forward. I have held multiple DOD nominations dealing with the personnel policy side and said, I just want an answer to the question, when are these individuals going to get an answer to their question? And I'm not going to allow you to be able to put these folks into the Pentagon until the other individuals actually get an answer to their question. It's not trying to be hard-nosed. It's trying to say, please notice the families and what that they're going under that want to be able to faithfully serve their country. We're going to continue to be able to hold those until I get a clear answer from the Pentagon on that group of thousands of people in all branches of the military. I'm very grateful to Senator Blackburn and her leadership and multiple others that have stepped up in multiple other ways. I've met with the chaplain's leadership. I've met with multiple individuals in the Pentagon, as she has and as multiple of us have as well. Just saying, give the right to our members of the military to be able to serve their country. They're young, They're healthy, and quite frankly, most of them have had COVID 3 times and had natural immunity and had no idea, even if they get it the next time, because they're asymptomatic. But yet in this process, they're saying, I'm sorry, that's not enough. And when I've asked the Pentagon, tell me where things are on natural immunity, what's your recognition, they will either say to me, we're not studying it. In other words, we don't want to know the answer. We have one answer and won't pursue the other one. Or they'll say, we're still thinking about that, what we're going to do. Well, we're going to help them think on that today. And to be able to say, let's honor all of those families. This is a very passionate, pro-military group of folks that are up here. That we're grateful for the leadership in the Pentagon. We're grateful for the folks that serve every day to be able to protect our nation. But we want to provide some guidance, because the guidance that's being given to the Pentagon is put these restrictions on our members of the military. And we want to stand with the leaders in the Pentagon and other places that are saying, we're ready to just get back to business and to be able to focus on the areas where we need to focus as a nation. So let's get back to that today. Let's get this NDAA passed, and let's stand with the members of our military.
And best for last, Fisher.
Thank you, Senator Blackburn, for being a leader and a strong voice on this issue. You have pulled a diverse group of senators together in order to work on this and to get results. And so thank you for your leadership in it. I recently attended the Reagan National Defense Forum in California. And the forum does a poll every year on the public's views of the military and defense issues. And in this year's poll, only 48% of people said that they have a great deal of confidence in the military of the United States. That's down from 70% in 2018. That lack of confidence is very, very concerning. And as policymakers, I think we have to reflect on what is causing that. Is it because of policies that the Department of Defense has put out? Is it because of policies by this administration? Is that causing this distrust of our own military? Is that a reason why we're seeing recruitment down in the military? The number of young Americans that are joining the military, it's reaching record lows. I can tell you from personal experience, we've just in my office, in my state office, we've gone through the applications for our military academies. And we've seen a drop in those that are applying for military academies, those appointments. And while it's a small number, my concern is, where are we going to find the leaders for our military tomorrow if we can't turn that around somehow? If we can't maintain the readiness of our military, it's going to be extremely difficult for the United States to be able to tackle the growing threats that we see as this country. So I thank Senator Blackburn and I thank my colleagues that we are addressing what I believe are one of the reasons that we're not able to meet recruitment numbers, and that is the COVID vaccine. So I agree, we need to get the NDAA passed for many reasons, and I am very pleased that this is going to be part of it.
All right, we'll take a couple of, Julie?
Senator Blackburn, Senator Floyd mentioned back pay and reinstatement. What kind of pressure are you all going to be putting on the administration to make that happen next Congress? And second, can I ask you about TikTok after that?
Yeah, let's do this first. This is when you look at how we go forward, that's going to be a discussion for another day. The important thing is to get this mandate off our men and women in uniform. That is what we're working on today. And then later you've got Senator Ernst on the committee. Senator Fisher is on the committee. And I think that'll be part of a broader discussion.
Thank you. And on TikTok, I know you've
Yeah.
made a lot of efforts, not only on TikTok, but other social media.
Let me come back to that. I saw Eric's hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, Senator. Have you talked to any of these service members in the fact of, do they want to come back? Do they feel betrayed? And then I also have a second question.
Yes, they want to come back. many of them, and whether they're guardsmen or they're active duty, some of them had medical requests. We looked at the Army. If you take just the Army, I think it was, and I think that Senator Langford can drill down a little bit further for you on the numbers. I think it is, with the Army, 0.0044 of the medical exemption requests are approved, and on the religious liberty, I think it is 0.0047 that are approved. So that is the reason for saying, look, pandemic's over. This is an emergency use authorization. Let's stand with our men and women in uniform. Let's get these recruiting numbers back up. Let's focus on readiness, and let's focus on doing right. Let our service honor their service. So, Aisha?
Senator Blackburn, the White House has called this a mistake, that this is going to put service members at risk, and it creates this logistical nightmare when it comes to deploying troops into countries that might still have vaccine mandates in place. What respond to that?
Yes, I think what we have to look at is readiness overall. In strength is a big component of readiness. Joni knows this. She has commanded a group. She knows that readiness and going through that process of redeployment training, things of that nature, looking at great power competition, that should be the focus. And as Senator Langford said, many of these people have had COVID. They have had it several times, and they have that natural immunity. And what they're saying to the military is, work with me on this. And we are asking the DOD to, in good faith, work with our military. So, and back to TikTok.
Obviously, last night, by unanimous consent, Holly, I know
Right.
you were on that effort, his bill passed banning out government phones. But how big of a priority will this be for yourselves, for the rest of Republicans, next Congress? It seems like an area where you can actually get bipartisan cooperation.
The actions that we have taken in the Senate are actions that we have come to in large part because of the work that Senator Blumenthal and I have done at Consumer Protection Data Security. What we know about TikTok is they are owned in large part by ByteDance. ByteDance is owned in part by the Chinese Communist Party. Therefore, they have access to the data and information that TikTok is putting on their side. TikTok China is an educational platform. TikTok US is not. And we know that faces are being mapped, that keystrokes are being kept, they are tracking, they are surveilling, they are building a profile. So parents, get your kids off of this. And since we know that the CCP is doing this, it is appropriate that all federal government phones, like our military and our foreign service already, that they do not have this app on their phone. I can really commend Senator Rubio for his efforts. He has been on this. As you said, several others have joined in that effort. There is a growing awareness that the social media platforms have proven they cannot regulate themselves, and that it is going to take Congress stepping up and putting in place the appropriate guardrails to protect consumer privacy, data security, and to protect our children online. I think they're giving me the go sign. So, Eric, go ahead.
The NDAA, it still has provisions in the NDAA to allow service members to use taxpayer money to go to travel to another state if the state bans abortions. Are Republicans planning to address this?
Yes, we will. We certainly will. Thank you all.
Is that in the form
Yeah.
of an amendment vote?
Yeah, amendment.
We'll find some. Aisha.
I just wondered what you thought about Senator Mark Warner's idea of the DOJ regulating TikTok instead of this overall ban.
I think we need one set of rules for the entire ecosystem, one regulator. Our privacy data security regulator has been the FTC.
Senator,
Yeah.
should there be an outright ban?
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.